There is so much cool stuff happening with this El Salvador decision and the dominoes that are starting to fall. It's not surprising at all that the IMF is scared, that they're saying there's potential legal and financial problems with the statement that they're going to have tomorrow. I mean, not surprising, because they are gatekeepers of the old legacy system. They've been in power for hundreds of years, like the same elite globalists. They don't want to give up power. They don't want to give up control. And that's what this COVID bullshit has been about, is control. It's not about health. It's not about science. It's not about a virus even. It's about control. And Bitcoin is about sovereignty, individual sovereignty, but now national sovereignty. And so these countries in Latin America and now El Salvador, someone in El Salvador's parliament or in their government called out people that he knows in Georgia, in Ukraine. Of course, it makes sense that Eastern European countries who are already crypto friendly are going to be among the next to adopt Bitcoin as legal currency. I'm sure it's going to happen, but I'm super bullish on Latin America and what's going to happen, because for 400 years, 500 years, since the papacy came and in the name of God, they committed genocide across the continent, Latin America has just been held down, whether it's by religion for the first several hundred years, then by the US, by the CIA, by everything that's been happening. Latin America has not had a chance to flourish. And so I think the younger millennial leaders who are taking this bold step to say, yeah, this totally makes sense. Let's adopt real sound money. Let's get out of the control of the IMF, get away from the control of the United States, get out from the US dollar, which the writing's on the wall that it's going to crash. They're seeing the future is going to be decentralized. They're seeing the future is going to be sound money, hard money, Bitcoin, and they're making that choice. And they're declaring, basically, by doing this, they're declaring independence from the globalists, from the IMF, from the US. Super, super exciting. But it's not going to be easy. Think about how powerful the people that are controlling the world are. They control everything, and they have for hundreds of years. They control media. They control food. They control entertainment. They control pharmacy. They control transportation and logistics. They control travel. They control all of these things. Plus, they control central banks. They're not going to just roll over and give up control easily. Bitcoin is the biggest threat that they have ever encountered in the last several hundred years. It's the biggest threat to their control that they've ever seen. And that's why it's so important. It might sound cultish. It might seem like we're part of a religion. It might seem like we're naive to the reality of what's happening in the world and to the dangers, to the problems, to the challenges that are ahead. But the reason is because we believe in freedom. And I say we as a generalization, the individuals who have pushed Bitcoin for years, and now nations who are accepting it and taking the bold step forward to say, you know what, we're tired of being under your control. We're going to be a sovereign nation ourselves. We are going to govern. We are going to build our own economies. We're not going to be destroyed and constantly held down by you running the show and now printing trillions and trillions of dollars, devaluing the currency that we use in our country. You know how many countries are dollarized? This is something that they're starting to see. Wow, if the dollar crashes, our economy is screwed. But really, we don't have to be owned by the United States or the IMF. We can take our own sovereignty into our own control, use our own natural resources, use our own people, invite good people to come to our countries, and build the future through Bitcoin. And that's what they're doing. But it's going to be a fight. And if you think that what's happening with Bitcoin right now is unrelated to what has happened in the last 15 months with COVID, you're mistaken. They're very tightly connected, because the globalists are showing their hand. They're showing their cards that this isn't about a virus. This is about control, totalitarian control of every aspect of human life. And for the people who have been under that, the nations who have been under that for so many generations, the younger generation's tired of it. And they're taking the bold step forward to say, nope, we've had enough. Even if, so I've been researching where you can go to get away from a lot of this COVID tyranny. And so I've had people reach out because I've been very excited about what's happening in El Salvador and say, but look, man, look what they're doing. Look what they've done the last year. Like, they've been really, really strict with COVID regulations, with masks, with all of these things. Yes. So pretty much the whole world followed the globalist mandate in the last year. But I think taking this step and taking more of an independent view, an independent path going forward, you're going to see the globalist control with COVID restrictions start to loosen. I mean, they've shown their hand. Now, whether they had to do that to get rid of Trump, whether they have just done that because they're actually not as competent as we are afraid that they are, they've shown their hand. They've shown who they are and what their game plan is. And people are starting to wake up. Not enough yet, but people are starting to wake up and realize this is complete BS. This is ridiculous. This isn't about health. It's not about a pandemic. The same number of people died in the last year that normally die in a year. Obviously, it's not about a pandemic. It's about control. And so the fight is going to get stronger, and everything that's happening with tyrannical mandates from government and people being made an example of, countries being made an example of, is liable to get much more violent and get much worse over the next few years before it gets better. But I know which side of history I want to be on. And so I have rededicated myself to being much more loud, whether it's just a few people that hear me now, like to add my voice to this cry for freedom and against what is happening. And now I'm not in a country where I wasn't able to do that like the last year. I couldn't really say anything or risk having some major consequences, but I left and I can now open my mouth again and speak freely, and I'm going to do that because legality does not equal morality, and government is best localized, not globalized.